Okay, so today we're going to look at linear application problems. Okay, so this is word problems, still using linear equations. Okay, write an equation for each of the following and solve. Round answers appropriately. At the end of the day, Jeff found that the total cash register receipts at the motel where he works were $286.20. This included sales tax of 8%. Find the amount of tax. All right, so we need to write an equation for this to find the amount of tax. This is what we're looking for. All right, so you're going to have your total cash register receipts is $286.20. Okay, so that's what the our total is going to be. So I'm going to put that equals to $286.20. So now on the left side, we need to figure out how to calculate to get to this total. So you're going to take, let's say X equals our number of sales, okay? Sales. Okay, sorry, I can't see my paper. Number of sales, okay? So now we're going to write an equation using sales. So if you went to the grocery store and you scanned all of your items, they would all total up to your total number of sales, okay? So you would take that number, which would be X, right? And then you would add, and how would you calculate your tax? Well, your tax is calculated by taking your total sales, which is X, and what? Multiplying it by your percent. And we need to convert this to a decimal, so it becomes 0.08. Okay? So this equals your tax amount. All right? So now we need our tax here. We have our sales, and we're going to say plus our tax, right, equals our total. So our tax is going to be 0.08x. All right, now we're just going to combine like terms and solve for x. So this is an understood 1x here plus 0.08x equals 1.08x and equals 286.20. Okay, so now what would we do to solve for x? Divide both sides by 1.08. These cancel, and you get x is equal to, I think it's, let me look. I don't have my calculator out. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab my calculator. Okay, what do we have? 286.20 divided by 1.08. 265. 265. Okay? Now then, this is what though? We said X is our number of sales. So basically this total sales was 265. Okay? So now we need to find it's asking us for the amount of the tax. So to find that, you can either take your total of 286.20 and subtract 265. Okay? Minus 286.20. 2120. That would be your tax amount, the difference between those two. You could also figure your tax by plugging X back in here, back into your original equation. So you would get 265 times 0.08. And you're going to get 2120, the same thing. Okay, so your answer is the same. Oh, either way, you could figure it either way. All right, so let's look at the second example. Louise got scores 88 and 78 on her first two tests. What score must she make on her third test to keep an average of 80 or greater? All right, so when you're trying to find an average, you're adding the numbers and then dividing by the number you have, right? So you've got 88 plus 78. Plus X, that's her third test, which we're trying to figure out what her third test is. Divide by, if you were going to average all three of these numbers together, you would divide it by 3. and she needs to get an 80 or greater. So this needs to be greater than or equal to 80. All right, so now you're going to do 88 plus 78, which is 166 plus x, just combining these two numbers. Divide this by 3. Okay, now what do? We need to get rid of this 3, so we're going to multiply both sides by 3. And these cancel out. And you get 166 plus x is greater than or equal to 80 times 3, which is 240. So now we're going to subtract 166 to both sides. These cancel, and you get x is greater than or equal to, what would that be? 240 minus 166, 74. So x was our third test grade, which is what they're asking for. She needs to make a 74 or greater on that test if she wants her average to be 80 or higher, okay? All right, let's look at this other example. A couple wishes to rent a car for 1 day while on vacation. Ford Car Rental wants $15 per day and 14 cents per mile, while Chevrolet wants $14 per day and 16 cents per mile. After how many miles would the price to rent the Chevrolet exceed the price to rent the Ford? All right, so let's write Chevrolet on this side. We've got two different scenarios here, okay? And it's asking us Chevrolet is going to exceed. So you want the Chevrolet scenario to exceed the Ford scenario, okay? How many miles would she have to rent? How many miles would the price to rent the Chevrolet exceed? Okay, so now let's look at Chevrolet. It says Chevrolet was $14 per day, 16 cents per mile. So 14 per day is our standard, and then 16 cents per mile. Okay, and X is going to be your number of miles. You can write a note over here if it helps you remember. Okay, and then Ford was $15 per day plus 14 cents per mile. Okay. So now X is our number of miles, and Chevrolet needs to be greater. So we're just going to solve for X from here, okay? So let's subtract your 0.14X and subtract your 14. So, oops, greater than, this is minus 14. Okay. So we're subtracting 14 from both sides, and we're subtracting 0.14x from both sides. So these cancel and these cancel. And what are you left with? 0.16 minus 0.14, which is 0.02x is greater than 15 minus 14 is 1. So now we need to divide both sides by 0.02. So let's see. Divide by 0.02. I'll just put it over here. Divide by 0.02. So now these cancel, and you have 1 divided by 0.02. So x is greater than 1 divided by 0.02. 1 divided by 0.02. It's 50. So x is greater than 50. So we basically, now let's reread what we just found out. So if x is our number of miles, if we go more than 50 miles, then Chevrolet exceeds the price of Ford, okay? So Chevrolet would be our better option if we were going to go over 50 miles, and Ford would be our better option if we were going to go less than 50 miles. All right, that's what we just did. That's what you're saying there, which makes sense, okay? So now then let's look on the back page, and let's just do number 5. We're just going to do one on the back page, okay? LED Corporation produces a CD-RW drive at a cost of $120 each, with fixed costs of $36,000. The CD drive sells for $180. How many drives must the corporation sell to break even? Okay, you're looking for break even. So that's telling me that my formula is going to be equal. You want one side to be equal to the other. right? You want them to break even, be the same, okay? So we're going to put our cost on one side, and we're going to put our sales on one side. So to break even, our cost and our sales need to be equal, all right? So let's see, on the cost side, it says, what do we have? We have a fixed cost of $36,000. It doesn't change, so it stays the same. And then each drive costs $120. Okay, so plus 120x. X is your number of drives. X is your number of drives, okay? All right, so that's our cost. That's our total cost. And what's our sales? They sell for 180 each. So it would be 180x. It costs 180 each, and this is the number of drives that you sell. So this is how much money you would make. Okay? All right, so now then let's figure this. We need to subtract your 120x from both sides. Solve for x. You're going to get 60x is equal to 36,000. Now then divide both sides by 60. And what are you going to get? These cancel. And you get 36,000 divided by 60. 6,000. So you get 6,000 is equal to x. Okay, so this is the answer, and it's basically telling us x was what? The number of drives. So we need to sell 6,000 drives before we break even. All right, so that would be our goal for sure, would be at least to be break even or even sell more than 6,000, right? All right, so you should have your notes page, copy these notes down, work through all of these steps, and then move on to the assignment next. All right, thank you.